big coaching news to start off the first edition of the Kickin The Can show here on Crushing It with your host, as always, Miles Smith. We've got a lot to get into, so we're not going to really kick the can around. All right, I'm making too many can puns already. All right, so let's just kind of get on with some stuff. Big news, obviously, the biggest news of the day for the Denver Broncos. Davis Webb getting promoted to offensive coordinator, and I think we all saw the writing on the wall once Joe Lombardi was fired. Davis Webb has been a guy that, a lot of teams have fallen in love with. He had multiple head coaching interviews over the course of what has been the start of the Broncos offseason. Obviously, some of those other teams, they replaced their coach, and then he pulled himself out of the Raiders head coaching search, which, I was praying for that man to not get picked up by the Raiders, but no, I think it's going to be very interesting for the Denver Broncos to see just how Davis Webb performs. We've seen him in a play caller role already. Maybe it was once, obviously, that preseason game against backups. Take that with a grain of salt. But there were people clamoring for him to call plays this year at some point just because of how stagnant this offense looked at times, and I floated the idea as well. I'm certainly guilty of that, I will admit. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this kind of leads for your Denver Broncos as they move into 2026. I don't know how different his offensive philosophy is going to be from Sean Payton's. Obviously, we saw a very pass-happy Sean Payton. We saw a very screen-happy Sean Payton. We've seen that for the past 3 seasons that he's been here now, to varying degrees of success. Obviously, he's kind of used it as that extension of the run game. And again, the varying degrees of success are what have really brought the criticism onto him in terms of that. Another criticism of Sean Payton as a play caller up to this point in Denver has been really his lack of commitment to the run game. We've seen that a lot this year, even in games where the running backs start out hot. Payton just refuses to stick with it. If he hands the offensive keys over to Davis Webb, that is, I think, going to be one of, if not the most interesting storylines going into OTAs and training camp. Again, I don't know how much different, maybe. I don't think the plays are going to be all that different, but I think the way they're called, given in whatever situation, is going to be very different. I know, Davis Webb has been with these quarterbacks for multiple years. He's been in the organization for multiple years. I believe the Broncos are his first coaching job, actually, and so far his only one, getting promoted from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator just recently, which is something that you really, really, really like to see. Another thing, and this kind of ties the whole theme together, of keeping the band together, you got Vance Joseph getting to return as the Broncos defensive coordinator, the second-ranked defense in the regular season, third-ranked in scoring. It was a good year for Vance Joseph. They managed to, kind of shake off that December slump a little bit there. It wasn't perfect in December, nor was it perfect in the playoffs, but the defense, they played a damn good game in the AFC title game. Vance Joseph coached a damn good game in the AFC title game, and we have very, very much seen what he can do when he's in his bag, and you get the familiarity with all the guys as well. I think that's going to be huge for the Broncos going forward. We've seen improvements from this defense year to year to year now. Obviously, the 2023 disaster that got overshadowed by some takeaways kind of down the stretch down the midseason stretch into the back end of the season for the Broncos that season. helped him win 5 straight games, some crazy games. If any of you remember that year with Russell Wilson, the fun, quote unquote, the fun, quote unquote, Russell Wilson year, where they won, 5 straight games to get back to 500 and then, squandered the playoff opportunity against New England. Yeah.
Yep.
Fun times there, but we do get VJ back. It's another year in the system for a lot of these veteran guys that have already been here. I'm excited. On the coaching front, though, Denver did take some pretty significant losses. For anyone who's maybe seeing this, they haven't really been caught up with Broncos news all that much as the offseason has kicked off. Maybe a little more focused on the Pro Bowl or the Super Bowl, getting ready for that. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Denver decides to do at some of these vacant spots. They still haven't filled that like senior advisor role that Pete Carmichael had. He got hired to go be the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, as well as Jim Leonard, who was the DB coach. He goes off to Buffalo as well to become the defensive coordinator. Two guys that were very coveted in the Broncos system. Of course, none more than maybe Davis Webb or Vance Joseph. But both guys kind of ran the clock out on the coaching cycle. So Joseph stays, Webb stays and gets promoted. But the Broncos do lose a couple of coaches. And they did fire a couple of coaches as well. I think the wide receiver coach and then the corner coach in specifically, if I remember correctly. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. I maybe should have gone and found that. But we do have another promotion to talk about in this one. I don't think I've seen a whole lot of reporting on up to this point. I mean, the whole spotlight has been on Davis Webb really since the early afternoon here, Mountain Time anyways. But Logan Kilgore was promoted to quarterback coach for the 2026 season. He was the offensive quality control for the past 3 years, so he kind of came in here with Davis Webb. And, there's a lot of continuity here in this Broncos system, and obviously now they got to fill, some lower level stuff under that. But it is very, very encouraging. I think the continuity is going to be good for the Broncos because while it's not the same people per se, it's the same line, it's the same succession, and hopefully that translates to another year of success under Sean Payton, under Davis Webb, under Vance Joseph, all that fun stuff. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to brush over a couple of free agents that the Broncos have coming up, and that will be this first edition of Kickin The Can. So, if you are enjoying the episode so far, don't forget to like the video, and if you're really enjoying it, don't forget to subscribe as well. We're almost to 400 subs, and yeah, into the next segment. So, a little bit of tough news for Denver as we near free agency. Obviously, Super Bowl still to play, and these are very early reports. Denver could very well be losing John Franklin Myers, standout defensive lineman that absolutely helped anchor that front seven over the course of the season. Anyways, forgot to turn my notifications off. 7.5 sacks for the defensive lineman, for the 29-year-old defensive lineman, and it is... I mean, the guy is going to command a lot of money in free agency, and he is just one of a handful of massive names that the Broncos are going to have to find a way to either retain or replace as we go into the offseason. Alex Singleton joins that list, and me personally, I'm okay with letting Singleton walk. I think we've seen numerous times this season while he's a plus run defender for the most part, but I mean, the guy just misses tackles sometimes that you can't really excuse, and he hasn't always been great in coverage. He made a couple of nice plays this season in coverage, but consistently, the whole body of work with Alex Singleton has been a little shaky, especially these, last few seasons. I've got a ton of respect for the dude, though, especially with the testicular cancer shit that he went through this season. Huge respect to Singleton. Go get your bag one way or another. You've been a great Denver Bronco. Wish the best for him if he does leave. But if not, I do hope it's in a reduced role, just because I think there are better linebackers on this team right now that need to be starting. And Bronco fans were clamoring for it all year with Greenlaw and Stranad, who I guess that works as a really, really nice segue, as Justin Stranad is also an unrestricted free agent, and we have heard him come out and say that he wants to be a starter. Like, that is something that might make or break Justin Stranad's, time in Denver, whether or not he gets to be a starter, and I definitely think that he's earned that. I think he was the better of the two linebackers between Singleton and himself, and I think it would be kind of stupid for Denver to let him go, but then again, if you can get better somewhere in the draft, I mean, you're going to be willing to let someone like a Justin Stranad walk in that kind of situation. A few other names as well. Adam Troutman's kind of been more of a blocking tight end. I think you let him walk. Not a whole lot of note on that. PJ Locke as well had some time starting at safety, was a starter, has familiarity in Vance Joseph's system, stepped up this year after Brandon Jones went down, and I thought he played well. I thought he played pretty well. I know a lot of Bronco fans were kind of doom and gloom about him, but I thought he held his own this year. I would like to see him back, but I don't know that he wants to come back as a backup. Michael Burton, fullback, he will probably be let go. They'll probably let him walk. Adam Prentice is doing his job now, and I thought Adam Prentice did a really good job this season. Mercedes Lewis probably isn't coming back. I don't think Denver really sees a use for him much in the future. Lil Jordan Humphrey could be in that same conversation, but it's almost the Arthur Smith, Jonnu Smith, I think. It's almost that effect where I think Peyton just really, really, really likes Lil Jordan Humphrey. I wouldn't be shocked to see him sign like a vet minimum deal, maybe a 2-year deal or something. Sam Mustipher, kind of a midseason acquisition. He will likely go as an unrestricted free agent, but I think some of his play this year, I think he stepped up admirably in a couple of spots, and that could see him stay in Denver, although I don't know that he wants to be the third string guy because that would be his role going forward. And then Sam Ehlinger as well was the third string quarterback for most of the season until Bo Nix got hurt in the divisional round. He turned down an opportunity to potentially go start for the Indianapolis Colts to stay with Denver. That could be interesting to see how that shakes out. I am quite interested to see how that works out. A couple of restricted guys as well. Matt Henningsen was on IR all year. With John Franklin Myers likely departing, we could see Denver try and put a tender on him or something to that effect. Jaquan McMillan is another guy to watch. J-Mac was just an absolute stud this season. He's been really good for the last couple of years, and I myself would very much like to see Jaquan McMillan come back. How you work that defense from there on out is a little confusing because I don't know what the outlook for Jahdae Barron is. I don't know if you move on from a corner, and I think the corner that the Broncos would be most likely to let walk or to trade away at some point is Riley Moss. Just because I mean, it's the penalties, I think a little bit as well. Just some shaky coverage at times that we have seen this season. I would not be shocked to see that Barron ends up as the odd man out, but I also think you could move or to see Moss as the odd man out. But at the same time, you keep everybody, and then maybe you move a Jahdae Barron to safety if you're willing to part ways with Brandon Jones, who I think has been an absolute stalwart on the defense on the back end. Lucas Kroll and Nate Adkins, pair of tight ends. I don't know if either of them will be coming back. Adkins, maybe. But I don't know if Kroll really has a role going forward, and he's been, kind of hurt the last couple of years. Alex Palcho is coming back. There is no way Denver lets Palczewski go after the year that he had, and I would not be shocked to see him be the starter next year. Maybe it's letting Ben Powers go, or maybe it's a competition. One way or another, I think Alex Palczewski, he played great as an extra offensive lineman this year. We saw that at times. And I think right now Palcho is the better of the left guards, but again, a lot of this is just early shit that Denver's got to address. Jaleel McLaughlin rounds out the restricted free agents. I don't know if he comes back. I do not. I just don't think the production's really been there. And partially is, he hasn't really gotten those touches. I thought he did quite good with the touches he got this season, even if he was only activated to the actual roster or dressed during a game really after he didn't get a snap, I think, until like week 8 or week 9 or something like that. I could see a universe where he comes back, but I also see a universe where Denver is willing to part ways and willing to let him walk. Then a couple exclusive right guys as well that I don't really think are going anywhere at all, just because of how they played this year. Dondre Tillman, I think, has to come back. He's been a very, very good rotational edge piece for Denver. Obviously, there's the clip of me screaming his name after the interception against Dallas. That's still one of my favorite picks or one of my favorite calls from the season. Maybe we'll do a favorite calls video at some point during the year. Jordan Jackson, I think, stays on as well. I think Denver really liked him. Decent rotational D-line piece. He'll probably, slide in behind Malcolm Roach, DJ Jones, those guys, or he could kick out, I think, with John Franklin Myers leaving. Devon Key, all-pro special teams guy. You got to keep the special teams guy, man. And if you got an all-pro right there, and you know what? I thought he did okay at safety when he had to get a couple of snaps this year. I didn't think he did bad, but he is very, very exceptional. He is an exceptional special teams gunner, and if Denver lets him go, they are stupid. I'm going to say that right now. If they let him walk, they are idiots. And then Tyler Bidet is another guy that I could see, hitting the market, but at the same time, we did see him get a lot of snaps over Jaleel at times this season, and I would not be shocked to see him come back either. So next up, not really going to do an offseason wish list, but maybe just a couple of positions that Denver might target in the offseason. That'll be the C block here on Kickin The Can, here on Crushing It. Don't go anywhere. All right, so close this out, obviously. Some big names hitting the free agent market, and I've had some discussions over in one of my Discords about at least one of them in particular. George Pickens is hitting the market. How he would work in the Broncos locker room, I don't quite know, but maybe Sean Payton would find a way to, quell him or sit him down and, maybe backhand some sense into him or something, give him some coachly motivation or something to play for the team. And okay, I'm done. Alec Pierce, and he was the guy that we were kind of hotly debating in the Discord, so if you're one of said Discord members, thanks for making it to this point. And yes, there was a very heated discussion about Alec Pierce. And really it boiled down to he's fast, and that was kind of it. Romeo Doubs as well hits free agency. Kyle Pitts could be a name the Broncos seek for, given, Evan Ingram's kind of disappointing year. But again, it feels like Denver is just where tight ends go to die at this point. Which is scary. And then, so 2 or 3, I guess, we'll go 3 of the biggest names that I think Denver is going to target this year. It's Devin Lloyd, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall that are hitting unrestricted free agency. And my God, could you imagine Devin Lloyd making his way over into a Broncos uniform? The Utah fan in me would be happy. I know my dad would be happy about that. But Devin Lloyd had a hell of a season, and he was really, I'd argue, the reason that Jacksonville defense was as damn good as it was this season. Kenneth Walker, obviously one of the best running backs in the league. He's been electric as a Seahawk. And then as well, Breece Hall, who's quietly had some pretty decent years with New York, but he is stuck on an awful Jets team. Almost got traded at the deadline. Could have come to Denver at the deadline, but perhaps it would just be a delayed union, shall we say. But with that being said, we will probably, expand upon some of this in an off-season wish list video. I've been teasing that for a minute and haven't really made any action on it. I haven't had the time. We had a crazy last couple of weeks just personally. So again, we're just kind of trying to carve out some time to do all of these videos. So if you want to support the show, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. We're almost to 400 subscribers. It helps me out greatly in the algorithm. And with that being said, you guys, as always, are the best, and I will see you in the next one. This is Miles, signing off. See ya.